Welcome to the Vitality Coach Podcast with the Mojo Maker and host, Nikki Fogden-Moore, the Vitality Expert. Dedicated to helping you be the CEO of your business and your life with special industry and life-leading guests, top tips on how you could create that magical blend of healthy, wealthy, and wise for CEOs, entrepreneurs, founders, and people who do things with life.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Mojo Maker podcast and TV series. I'm here with one of my guests in a special series for adulting, Greg Valles, the Managing Director of Valles Accountants and charismatic man at large. Greg, thank you very much for spending time on the show.
Thanks, Nikki. I'm happy to be here.
And also, we're in your inner sanctum. We're in the place where all the numbers get crunched,
That's right.
the people get moved around and deals get done.
That's where it happens.
So for our listeners, just before we kick off, I did a bit of an intro, but what would be a tiny little insight into GV? Greg Valles, your short bio, elevator pitch.
All right.
Bring us on board.
Well, we're a boutique practice, Valles Accountants, and we deal with a lot of high wealth people, also businesses from across the states, which is Sydney, Brisbane. We do also a bit of international tax law. We deal with a lot of high level lawyers in Minters and in Hall & Wilcox. So we have a really great network for over 15 years with these high level consultants. We like to think that when people come in, that we solve their problems in whatever capacity they may need, whether it's a small or a large one, and the detail, and that we try to make sure that we are listening to what they are wanting as an outcome, if that's possible.
So that's Valles Accountants. What about you?
Well, for me, over time.
Get to this point?
Well, over time, I think you have an epitome where you think, you need to put your own shingle out and run your own business, and you have your values and your persona and what you want to put out there, and I thought there was a niche there for me, particularly with the clients that I ended up having. So for me, I went through a whole process of working like a Trojan, and then each year working smarter.
So you have a tax accounting history?
Yes, I have a tax accounting history. I was originally trained in tax office, and then went out and went into private practice, and just worked my way through up to being a managing director of a firm, and then eventually going out and setting up my own firm.
And I think that really brings us to the point when we met, at an event around men's mental health, and we started having discussions around what your journey was to get here. We clicked on this whole idea of personal reflection evolution.
Yeah.
And then you shared a couple of things that had happened in your life that threw you for six.
Yes.
You thought everything was fine, and
Yes.
then actually you got bowled over.
Right.
Would I think one of those being personal in the separation of your marriage?
Marriage, yes.
And then the other one being looking inside your business and
Yeah.
realizing that all the people in place, it wasn't ticking over as well as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everyone has life challenges, and I guess I take a negative to a positive, and for whatever reason, end of a long marriage. But what eventually happened from that as well is that when clients went through that, or my association with barristers in the family court, now I do valuations for them, actually act for a few of them now, was a whole new world actually ended up opening up, that I was able to counsel and also direct and educate, and particularly technically provide information to clients in that field as well. So I took really an unbelievable negative energy for me for a certain period of time, and developed that into a real positive. So that ended up.
I know you're Mr. Professional, and one of the things that I think on the show is the vulnerability that we have to say anyone going through extreme overwhelm at the moment. Not only should you know what that feeling's like,
Yep.
that there is always a solution. So what was an experience like for you? When you had to look at a new set of beliefs and maybe look at your friends and reach out and ask for help when you were going through personal discord and you still had to run a business?
Yeah, Look, I think I was fortunate. I had a very beautiful family around me. Also got some really beautiful friends. But you do sort out a lot of people. You know, who's who in the zoo, who's really, at the end of the day, what sat in the final position for me was having well-wishers around you. You know, people that want you to do well and you want them to do well, but nothing but the gratitude for that. And those are the people I ended up having around me eventually. And sometimes you have to sort through that, whether it's not necessarily just your friends, but it's also your client or in the business association. And that works out pretty much. And I think you become very quickly resilient in business with that. And you need to go through that journey. It's important to go through that journey because you spot it very quickly now, as opposed to,
And at that point, you talk about that journey, what would you describe as overwhelm and just, you know, the freak out moment when you realised things weren't as they seemed? How did that feel to you?
Sure. Are you talking about a business or personal?
Well, I think personal.
Oh, okay. From the personal point of view, it was a massive learning experience because I usually have control over things, and finding myself in a field where I had to go along with a few things that necessarily I couldn't change or do anything about because. Particularly the family court ramifications of, you know, settlements and etc. As much as you want to be as fair as possible and trying not to drag it out, it got dragged out. And but fortunately, I ended up having some calmness there. But also, I made sure that I started to look after myself as well. That I didn't make it absorb in me to in a sense of dysfunctional. And I sought some help to talk to people about a professional help outside of my friends and family as well. And I think that kept me in good stead because I got some really clear direction and advice and about that.
Do you find that dealing with your clients, often people, especially men, are reticent to get counselling or support in the first early stages of something going wrong because they think they can handle it themselves?
Yeah, I think so too. Definitely. And I think that they are in denial that they need some assistance from anyone or to talk it through. But it's also just a cathartic nature to calm down your anxiety about things, or you panic, or whatever the emotion that you are going through that you may not have gone through before, but you needed some professional assistance to do it, and you don't need to be medicated. It's more about also just talking through what is it and trying to find solutions, and that's massively important.
Yeah, funny that you bring up the comment you don't need to be medicated. I mean, that was so far from my mind. But I think what happens is when people talk about going to get help, they think they have to go to their GP the first port of call is to recognise when you are overwhelmed and you are full of anxiety, and that's not a normal state. I just want to say, you know, we're not being chased by lions, but we certainly act like it. You know, getting here, our delays, everything, we sort of let ourselves get into this heightened state where it's just not healthy and you can't think clearly. And why do you think you had the courage to go, oh, I need to go and get some external? What in your belief system or upbringing helped you go, it's cool to do that? Yeah,
I think it was... funny enough, I didn't have an ego about it either. I just sort of said, no, I need to solve this. And I was always a big person about trying to find a solution, no matter what. And I found that, you know, and always I say to clients, you know, the best ones know what they don't know. And I knew, I didn't really know how to deal with this. So I put my hand up and I got some assistance with it, and it was good. And it helped me profoundly. And in fact, that's gone through in how I've conducted my business. So I learned a lot with that, and I preach that to people. I should have followed it myself, which I did. So I'm happy about that.
And I think, you know, we met around the topic of men's mental health, which is why I keep driving you back to the itchy subjects.
Yes.
Rather than the easy answers, which is, this isn't a show where we go, let's talk about all the classic things, but really understanding what it feels like when any one of you listening or watching the show, this is an epidemic. Overwhelm and anxiety and I call it burnout, freakout, opt-out, is causing our leaders to make poor decisions. The collateral damage around it is having macroeconomic issues, even businesses. And the common denominator for predominantly most of our male clients is they don't get help until it's way down the track.
Way down
and
the
so
track.
all this stress and all this pressure could have been alleviated because we keep thinking that what we knew before was the answer.
May not completely alleviate, but it can minimise more of the magnification of what you're going through and going through that process, and it takes time and owning that it takes time. It's not an overnight fix. You know, it's the thing that I ended up with working out was mind, body, soul. And you know, working on exercising, meditation on mind, and just trying to be healthy in different areas. So that's assisted in massively those principles, and in fact runs into your business life.
So how do you take your legitimate new integrity values of that we want people to feel transparent, we want them to look after themselves, we want to look after our clients. It's a very old school arrangement in terms of relationships are very important because that's the type of person that you are. How do you instill those values as a modern leader where you're hiring much younger staff who expect already to be given the title, the seat and the responsibility, but they haven't been in the fire yet. So how do you translate that?
So I'll answer that in two parts. One is about the clients. I mean, I think with the clients you have to relate and have the empathy to be able for them to be very honest. And I think I have that great success with them, and that they are able to bear what they need done. And then and I again explain to them that they really only have to know their business, and I'll take care of the rest and what they need to do. And they feel in very safe hands. And I think that's an important aspect. They don't want to have to worry about the things I have to do. They should be very, and I share it with them. So I walk them through the education process of it, and everyone has a different level of what intake they want to take. You know, some don't want the complexity. They want to know that you're going to. They want to just get it done. And then there's staff. So over the years, I've learned. You know, today I think I've got just a great temperament of staff. You know, they're very. They've got the humility and the values that I profess, and I think they listen, they help, and I think they emulate the essence of what Valles Accountants are, and we empathise and we can assist people to get the right result in a fair manner.
And you know, I always argue a lot with my leaders. They say, well, culture comes from all the staff, but actually culture is an extension of you as the leader, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely.
Do you think that your culture has evolved because you've also evolved?
Yeah, 100%.
I know that you know, we're big personalities, so you feel that looking back, your business and culture has evolved with your own growth too.
Yeah, I think so. It's learned and it's evolved enormously with it, and you learn that through different staff that you have, and you can only but experience that. But I've certainly, when I've looked at the rebuild of my staff, and I've looked at the values that they have and what they're looking for, and now it's starting to espouse to where I really want it to be.
So what would you say in your own experience of coming through the coalface, realising that your old style, you had some we all go through that when we're growing and scaling the business. Like I think relationships, whether it's staff, clients or personal, are the hardest things to balance ever. Yeah. So you being honest with yourself, how much of yourself do you share with your team? Like, you know, how much of your, so they understand where you sit in the day and they can best support you? What's that nice even level?
I think the major thing is communication. So I talk to them very clearly about what's going on with the business and in terms of clients and transparency on it. Also, I think that they love what they do. It's important that I love what I do. I love walking into my office, and I try to set the tone for that because I actually genuinely love what I do, and I try to articulate that we create that ambience. Early on, I think some of the mistakes was I showed too much of a generosity, and I learnt that wasn't always what's going to be the solution. So I've tailored that. Not that you need to be generous, not be generous, but in time, but more financial. And I think I needed to be more measured in that. And I learned that over the time. And you know, as the development happens, then we'll do some wonderful things in the team environment and etc. But certainly you learn from a number of things, and also each person's different.
So what would you say are your biggest outtakes? And I purposefully haven't probed, and I think I probably will on the next episode, too much on your personal journey, but I think, you know, knowing what you've gone through, knowing the amount of work that I know you put into your personal evolution and being a great leader, what are the 3 things that you would recommend to any person, male or female, running a business and trying to manage their life when they're going through some changes and some collateral damage? 3 things from Greg Valles that you would say were pretty confronting and you thought, I'm going to deal with this differently. What would you say?
Well, I think it'll be manage your time.
Manage your time.
Manage your time. Some emotional intelligence.
Yep, EQ.
EQ. And of course, the IQ, I think, is a given. You wouldn't be in the business if you haven't. But I just think the more the understanding of what's going on around you, not only internally but externally, and being very on point with current trends and people and how things are changing, and change with that, or see how you can adapt to that, and that what makes you relevant. I mean, if you're looking at technology, you're looking at the different ways that tax laws change, or different aspects of what's occurring, you need to be up to date, capable and competent, and the people have got you're the go-to person. I think that's by and large my philosophy.
And I guess the last thing is understanding as well that this is a journey.
Yep.
You know, you're not infallible.
Yep.
You're not made of titanium as much as we hope that we are.
Yep.
So what would you say your own personal habits are now to keep yourself in momentum for all of this, and choosing? I think the last comment is, how do you decide who you're going to hang out with, Greg? We have so many people around us.
Yes.
So choosing people that you say are supportive friends, like, well, why not?
Well wishes.
Well
wishes,
and
Nikki.
avoiding the gossip, I think, very important. How do you do that in a male perspective? Because I think that peer pressure is massive.
Yeah.
We have in Australia, we have a big drinking society.
We
have a lot of. So we need to be well in ourselves to be able to not enter into those peer pressure situations.
Look, I think I pride myself in relating to people in all walks of life, in all socioeconomic, because I treat them all the same, and as long as they're the people of the same value systems of well-wishers, and they're not necessarily the negativity, and I think that that's important. And you know, maybe if they do have negativity, they may have the reasons, and then we walk through that. But by and large, having good people around you in business and in your private life is what sustains your future, and also sustenance for your future success.
Yeah, so I think, Greg, one, you've gone through you change, you've evolved Valles Accountants.
Yep.
You do deal with a lot of movers and shakers, but most importantly, you're very good at sharing one-on-one what you've gone through.
Yep.
You talk about empathy.
Yep.
You talk about performance and compassion.
Yep.
You talk about having a team that love what they do, and as a leader, you have to love what you do.
Yeah.
And you said also, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yep.
We talk about this all the time.
Yep.
You know, one of the other episodes we'll do is how to select what good help looks like.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of people that tote themselves out as counsellors or tax accountants or advisors or wealth management.
Correct.
But ciphering through quality, I think, is the next step for people to not only be informed and to ask questions, but to know whatever you're going through, you're always evolving.
Yeah.
You don't have to be stuck in the past.
100%.
And I think the last thing I want to say, you went through some changes with staff, but you also went through some changes with some child custody issues that really hit home.
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't more child custody. My kids were older. It was more like going through a process of dealing with a divorce and the courts in terms of financial settlement. The kids were fine till the end settlement wasn't what everyone was thinking it would be, even though the courts decided it. But by and large, it's more about, if I had my time over, I probably would have managed it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I learnt from that. And what is the right balance for that? Who knows, when people are, and in fairness, my ex would have also gone through an emotional turmoil as well. So I think over the years I had a lot more empathy for that as well, which I did at the time. So you learn. I think hopefully out of all of those downtimes, you come out with a massive positive.
Absolutely.
And you've got to, in order to be as good as you are, you have to go down to the well at some point.
There you go. And I think that's the most fantastic point to end on,
Yeah.
Greg, is in order for us to sit here and practice what we preach and talk about these things, we
Yeah.
have to be prepared to rise from the surface every now and then, go, whoa,
Yeah.
that was like a
Yeah.
hectic.
Yeah.
And to go, no, we've learnt some things, but when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel like it, right?
No.
And
That's right.
you don't have the luxury of foresight
Yes.
or hindsight. You're
Yes.
right in the middle of it.
Yes.
And so working with people that have been in your shoes, you're probably not the first time anyone's going through what you're going through.
Yep.
Understanding that modern leadership is not out of a book from 1960. It does require you to be agile. It requires you to think about things, asking for help, surrounding yourself with good mentors, and
Yep.
also like-minded, mates, colleagues, and people that are going to lift you up.
Yep.
And then the last thing is be real. So your
Yeah.
culture is you, and your staff need to work for you because they love it, not
Yep.
because you're bribing them with things.
That's right.
So Greg, one last comment from
Yeah.
the Guru. I know that we have great nicknames for each other.
That's
Big
right.
deal.
Big deal. Superwoman. That's right.
You missed a W on that.
That's Wonder Woman. That's
what is
right.
your one little departing comment for anyone listening to this show? I know
Yeah.
I've put you on the spot today.
Yeah.
I've made you talk about some personal stuff. Just a Gregism that we can
Oh,
leave with.
look, I think, now there's a few things, but one of the things is about being open to different people you meet, and that's what happened with how we met, and look at the wonderful things, even with Jake
Yeah.
Edwards from outside the locker room, what a wonderful thing that's happening, occurring with that, who you're going to talk to. So it's just wonderful how, I hear some people go, I've got enough friends, but it's the most negative comment that you can hear from people to say, just open up. There are so many more wonderful people to meet and to explore, and it's not necessarily business also, it's enrichment of the life. So I take things with a positive, and there's an element of realism there as well.
So thanks very much, Greg. You've heard that. That is, you're never really going to need to stop filling up your friend tag. Please be open for meeting people. You never know what enrichment you'll get from experiences in life. And if you're continually shutting yourself down and say, this is the way I've always done things, you'll get the same results. So Greg Valles from Valles Accountants in the den of goodness and
Yes.
numbers that we're sitting in here. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure,
We'll be
Nikki.
having you back to talk about legacy.
Look forward to it.
And thank you for sharing little insights into your world and why you're so fabulous and empathetic at helping people not only build their financial acumen, but be good humans as well.
Thanks, Nikki. Good on you. Thanks.
So guys, you can just wrap up and hop on to iTunes, or you can listen to Spotify. You can come over and hit us up on YouTube, the Vitality Coach TV. All about Greg, some outtakes from today's show will be on my blog as always. These conversations are more about one-on-one insights. It's not a rehearsed thing. It's about bringing out personal exceptions and understanding how people evolve. I think it's really, really important to consider that you only have one life. There's no dress rehearsal. So make sure that you're listening to the right people, that you've completely connected. And if you're not sure about something, be curious. It's the best gift we all have. So stay tuned for our next episode. I'm Nikki Fogden-Moore. This is the Mojo Maker podcast. Thanks for tuning in. As always, you stay healthy, wealthy, and wise.